All right, and again, at the top of your page, you need to have Unit 6, review number 2, and then today's date, which is 3/3. So if you do not have it titled that, please go ahead and title that. All right, so today the questions that we're going to be focusing on are independent dependent variable questions, and then we're also going to be focusing on, take your hood off, take your hood off. We're also going to be focusing on equation, like solving one-step equation questions, because we didn't hit any of those yesterday. All right, so starting with number 1. Ronquita is participating in a fundraiser for her swim team. During the fundraiser, the team members will swim as many laps as they can. Ronquita's uncle pledged to give the team 10 cents for every lap Ronquita swims. During the fundraiser, Ronquita swam X laps. Based on the number of laps she swims, her uncle gives the team $2.30. Which equation can be used to determine the number of laps Ronquita swims? All right, so first and foremost, let's go back through it and figure out what's important. So anything important in the first question or first sentence? There's nothing important. It's just kind of like background that we don't necessarily need. All right, what about the second one? So during the fundraiser, nothing? Nothing. Nothing. All right, now the third one, talking about Ronquita's uncle. All right, what's important in that question? Joe?
Ronquita's uncle pledges to give the team 10 cents for every lap she swims.
Okay, so that's important because that's kind of our rate, right? So 10 cents per lap. All right, what about the next one? During the fundraiser. Elizabeth?
Ronquita swims X laps.
Okay. All right, what about the next one? Savannah? Okay, and then the last one? It's important. Joe?
It's the question.
All right, so especially that part. So which equation can determine what the total would be? So let's look at A. $2.30 times 10 cents equals X. Is that going to give us our answer? Stand up if you think so. Why not? Why is that one not going to work?
That's when it's in parentheses without an equation between it and it's multiplying.
Okay, so we don't want to multiply those two numbers together, right? Because we know that $2.30 is what? What is $2.30 representing, Gabby? It's representing the total. So I'm just going to draw a line, and this is our total. So that's how much her uncle is giving to them. So we're not going to multiply that by the 10 cents because we already have the total. All right, so A is out. All right, what about B? 10 cents X equals $2.30. Stand up if you think that is going to be the right answer. And it's okay if you don't know. Like, don't look around and say that because other people are. It might not be. Okay. Callie, why do you think that this one could be the answer? Yeah, speak up, baby. Right, so I mean, essentially, you're multiplying the number of laps times 10 cents to get our total. Okay, so that probably is our answer, but let's just check the other two just to make sure. So C says $2.30 X equals 10 cents. Does that make sense? No, because 10 cents, is that our total? No, so C is out. And then the $2.30 times 10 cents times X equals 0. I'm sorry, what? That don't make no sense. So we're just gonna, we don't even want to look at that. That's just ugly. So yes, the correct answer for this one is going to be B. we're gonna take this a step further just so we get a little extra practice. So if this is my equation and I wanted you guys to figure out how many laps they swam or how many laps she swam, what would we do? So we're solving for a one-step equation right here. Elizabeth? Well, you wouldn't divide the total by 1/10. We are going to divide. Why are we dividing? Why are we dividing? Right. Right. So it's the opposite because right now what's going on in here is multiplication. So we divide by 1/10. So over here, you're dividing by 1/10. And then so how many laps did they swim all together? Or how many laps did she swim together? 23 laps. Again, I'm trying to get that extra practice in for you guys. Remember, you're doing, when you're solving for equations, you're doing the opposite, the inverse operation. And I don't think I added that over here. No, I did say inverse operation or opposite operation. If you want, I can go in and even put somewhere, the opposite operations of each if you want that. You guys want me to do that or no? It's for y'all, it's not for me. So I don't mind. I'll have to squeeze it in somewhere. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and we've already done number 2. So slide past number 2 and go to number 3. Did we already do this one? Okay. I think it was on yesterday's questions, but all right, so last week a clothing store priced its shirts at $12 per shirt and sold 50 shirts. Next week, the manager wants to raise the price to $15 per shirt to make more money. Which equation should the manager use to find out how many shirts the store has to sell next week in order to match the sales from last week? All right, so let's go through and question or sentence by sentence find what's important. All right, so in the first sentence, what's important? Ben?
The clothing store price its shirts for at $12.
Okay. What else?
And also sold 50 shirts.
So the first week they were priced at $12 and they sold 50 of them. All right. So the next sentence, so it says next week. What's important in that one? What's important in the next week, Andrew? Okay. And then the last sentence it says which equation. What's important in that one? Abby? The whole sentence. And we're looking for the equation. And then we want to know which equation should the manager use to find out how many shirts the store has to sell next week in order to match last week's sales. All right, so looking at this, the first one says 12x equals 15. Is that going to tell us anything? Like, what does the 12 represent? What does the 12 represent?
How many shirts they sold last week, or how much it cost last week?
Okay, so we know that the 12 is representing how much the shirts cost last week. What is the 15 representing? Ben?
How much the shirts are going to be sold this week?
So is it going to make sense for us to multiply 12 times an unknown number to equal 15? Is that going to make sense? Based off of, well, we already know the price of the shirts for this coming week and we know the price of the shirts for last week. So this one doesn't make sense to use. All right? What about B? 12x equals 600. What is that representing? 12x equals 600, because I don't see 600 in our word problem. So where are they getting that 600 from, Sophia? So they went ahead and solved the problem and found the total for the first week. So they did 50 times 12, which gave them 600. But does that tell us how many shirts they're gonna have to sell for this coming week if it's priced at 15? Okay, so that one's not it either. All right. What about C? 15x equals 50. Well, again, what is the 15x, or what's the 15 representing? Gabby?
Remember shirts we sold last week?
Nope, not the number of shirts they sold last week. 15, sorry. 15, 1 5.
Oh, that is the money in the first shirt this week.
Right, so that's the amount that they're raising it up to. And then what does the 50 equal?
The number of shirts they sold last week.
So is there anything I'm gonna multiply 15 by to give me the number of shirts they sold last week? Don't we already know that? We already know how many shirts they sold last week because they already told us. So just going through and process of elimination of asking yourself, what does this number represent and what does this number represent? We've come to our answer. All right? So D is our answer. And now we're going to, again, take it a step further, and we're going to figure out, okay, well, 15x equals 600. So I want to know how many shirts is it going to take to make $600 at $15. What do we do here? So if I'm solving this 15x equals 600, what am I doing, Ben? By? So I'm going to divide by 15 on this side, which means I have to divide by 15 on this side. Y'all go ahead and solve that. Stand up when you have your answer. Ooh, you're a math genius today, boo. I barely got the words out of my mouth. Ramon, why are you not writing? If you need a pencil, just jump up and grab one. You're just wasting time at this point, babe. All right, Isabella, what did you get when you did 600 divided by 15? All right, so essentially they need to sell 40 shirts to make the same amount of money. How many of you guys got 40 when you did your division? Perfect, awesome. All right, so looking at number 4, it says, Susanna earns $3.75 per hour babysitting. Last month, she babysat for 11 hours. How much did she earn? What are we doing, or what's important in this question? What's important, Savannah?
Susanna earns $3.75 per hour.
Okay. What's important in the next sentence? Faith? But what's important? Not the whole sentence. All right, and then obviously we want to know how much she earned. So what are we doing here? What are we gonna do here? I need some new people. Cam, what are we doing to solve this problem? So what am I gonna do? Adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. What am I doing? Huh? Not adding. Why are we not adding? The $3.75 per hour is telling us what? Well, it's telling us the unit rate of how much she makes per hour. Well, I guess you could add. How many times are you going to have to add $3.75 though? Lily? 11 times. So if you wanted to add $3.75 11 times, by all means go for it. What's another thing you can do? Brielle?
You can multiply $3.75 by 5.
Okay, go ahead, do that, and stand up when you have your answer. All right, Andrew, what do you get?
41.35
Who?
or $41.35.
You said $41.25? Who? What?
He said 35 cents, not 25.
She said $41.25.
That's the technique just added one more.
Oh, so you're just checking my math. Make sure I did it right? And you'll notice about this question, what do you not have the option of? Like with number 4, what do you not have? Ramon? You don't have multiple choice, and we bombed multiple, or the ones that are open response. We bombed that on the benchmark. We did not do well at all with those questions. So, and not because Andrew didn't know how to multiply or what he was doing, he just made a simple mistake. But you don't know if it's a simple mistake because you don't have anything to check it with. So please be very careful when you're answering open response questions. So yes, she made $41.25. All right, number 6, slide down, or go to number 6. An equation is shown below. You have 1/4 m equals 12. What is the value of m in the quotient? Quotient, good Lord, sorry, in the equation. All right, so what's important in this question? What's important? Soraya? Okay, value means what? Huh? Okay, so what's the answer, or like what are we gonna put in there? And then also, guys, this is important. So I have 1/4 m equals 12. How do I solve this problem? 1/4 m equals 12. Before you answer that, what operation is going on between the 1/4 m? Sophia? Okay, and in order to solve this problem, Sophia, what do you have to do? You have to divide. You have to do the opposite. So you're essentially going to divide by 1/4. That cancels. So over here, you're doing 12 divided by 1/4. Go ahead and stand up when you have your answer. Just Bryson. Bryson's the one who's not here today. Stop, children. All right. Caitlin, what do we do here to solve this problem?
You have to divide 12 and 1/4. So you have to set out here, so you have to put a 1 underneath the 12, and you have to put the 4 on top, and then you get 28.
Okay? How many of you guys got that as your answer? All right, good job. All right, so we are now going to go on to a question that you are not this exact one, but this is a type of independent dependent variable question that you're gonna see on your test either starting today or tomorrow. So it says Lisa performed an experiment for her anatomy class to examine how human flexibility, the graph shows. Am I reading that wrong, or does that sound weird? Okay, anyways. It says which equation best represents Lisa's results. All right, so you have equations down here. The best way to solve questions when you have a graph and to figure it out is to simply pick a point on your x-axis and your y-axis and plug them in essentially and go from there. So technically, which variable do you think the x-axis is being represented by? The A or the F? So which variable do you think that the A is based off of your graph? Because in your equation, do you see X and Y? No, so therefore you have to first identify, okay, well, which one is the X, which one is the Y? All right, Andrew? So yeah, the A is the X because you're looking at age, right? So A is your X, and then obviously F is your Y. So now, picking 2 points on your line, I would try to pick one that falls right on a number and a number that are on line. So you're not trying to guess, okay, well, I think this might be 60, 58. This one we know is 30, and we know this one is 50. Okay, and then you're essentially going to plug this information in, and you're going to solve. Now this is not the nicest one because it does have a negative number in it, but that's also why we're doing it together. So if I'm plugging in my information, so my A is going to equal 30, and my Y has to equal 50. So you guys should be writing this down, not on your iPads, y'all. This should be done in your notebook. So in order to solve, essentially this is -1.5 times 30 is supposed to give me 50. So I have to solve that. And I'm going to use a calculator because I'm not using brain power, especially with negative numbers. Okay. All right, so when I do, even though I didn't do a -1.5, when I do 1.5 times 30, I end up with 45. Does 45 equal 50? No, so then therefore, even though it's a negative, it doesn't matter because I know that this is not a true statement. Does that make sense? All right, so now looking at the next one, it's -2/3 times 30 is going to equal 50. So again, I'm going to take out the negative sign and I'm just going to multiply 2/3 times, what is that, 30 over 1? So that gives me 60 over 3, which is going to give me 20. So does 20 equal 50? You guys look super confused right now. Are you confused? Raise your hand if you're confused. Why are you confused?
Well,
Minus the fact that there are negatives. Why are you confused about this?
I'm not really good at fractions.
It doesn't matter. You know how to multiply fractions. You want to know why you know how to multiply fractions? Because all you do is the top and the bottom. That's it. So that's not a fraction. Remember, guys, picking a number off of your graph and you're simply plugging in, you're substituting in those numbers. So we have a value for A, right? I picked 30 for you all. We have a value for F. I picked 50. In order for your answer to be correct, you have to equal 50 because F equals what? F equals 50. So no matter what you're multiplying, dividing, adding, subtracting over here, if it doesn't equal 50, it doesn't matter. That's the nice thing about, like, honestly, with tables and everything, because you pick two numbers, and if it doesn't equal that number, it's not the right answer. Our F has to equal 50. It has to. Okay? Because that is the number we picked for 50. If we picked a different number, and let's say we picked 0 and let's say we picked 10 and 80, what would our F have to equal? If 10 is here, and this is my X, which is my A, and I picked 80 as my F or my Y, what would our F have to equal? Brielle? 80. So whatever number you pick on your Y axis, it's got to equal that if that is your Y value. So again, you're just substituting in numbers and doing the math. Whether it's fractions, whether it's multiplication, whether it's subtraction. Don't overthink questions like this. All right, so again, does 20 equal 50? No. All right, so the next one, we are doing 95 minus 1.5 times 30. Okay, so here, we already know what 1.5 times 30 is, right? Didn't we already figure that out? So what is 1.5 times 30?
45.
45. So now we're doing 95 minus 45. What does that equal? Ariana? 50. Is that our answer? Yes, that is our answer because our 30 is our A, which is our X, and it equals 50, which is our Y or our F. Okay, so that is just simply the process that you are doing. You're plugging your two numbers in, and it's got to equal. Okay, again, my best, like I said, we could have done 10, bless you, because it falls right on the line, and we could have done 80, and we still would have got the same thing. Do not overthink tables and graphs. Don't do it. They're not that hard. All right, going down to the next one. It says, what is the solution of the equation below? Solution means what? What does solution mean? What does solution mean, Levy? Huh? Answer? And then we are using this. Okay, so your equation is 4x equals 8/7. There's a couple different ways you could do this. You can use your answer choices, plug them in and multiply, or you can do what? You can do division. Divide that by 4, divide this by 4. Stand up when you have your answer. All right, Ramon, how do I solve this problem? Sorry, totally forgot what I was doing there. Okay, then what? So you have 2/14. Can you simplify again?
28 divided by 4 is 7.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. That's why I keep y'all around. Sorry. 2. I told you I got a brain fart. I was about to write 19. So hey. So then what do you do? You find your answer? Okay. All right. How do we feel about equations after practicing today? Why are you a middle? What? Yes. Why? Well, no one said we had to like them. Okay. We are gonna skip down, and we're gonna skip number 8, and we're gonna go to number 9. And this is essentially a table with independent, dependent variables. So it says, Mia is starting a lemonade business. The equipment costs $9. The table below shows all the additional costs for her first 3 days of business. Maya sold a total of 112 cups of lemonade in the first 3 days. If X represents number of cups of lemonade and C represents Maya's cost, Maya, whatever her name is, which equation can be used to calculate the total cost for future lemonade sales? Bless you. All right, so again, they've already given you an equation. They've given you a table, and you just kind of have to say it again. Not go with the flow, but I mean, like, what do you have to do? What do we have to do to solve this problem? This problem was on your mid-assessment. So what do you have to do to solve this problem? You have a table with numbers. What do you have to do? The fact that only 2 people know is slightly scary.